What's the dumbest mistake you've seen an incompetent co-worker make? My wife worked at a gas station and found out her co-worker, who had been there for years, had been refilling the napkin dispenser by cramming them one at a time through the front slot. She walked up and unfastened the back, and apparently his jaw hit the floor. He had never considered that there might be a better way to do this. Working in pharmacy, a pharmacist gave a customer a flu shot and threw the used syringe in the container with the new syringes instead of the container to dispose them. Another pharmacist went to grab a new syringe later on and ended up getting stabbed with the used syringe. Caused a total shitstorm. I replaced a phlebotomist extern who was let go. The wall-mounted sharps in the processing room was full, so he took it down, put his hand over the opening, and shook it up and down to make room. I forget the number of sticks he had, but it was a lot. Dude was just speedrunning hepatitis. Took the wrong coffin to a funeral. Someone else had to drive to the cemetery with the correct deceased on board, and thankfully they made it before the viewing. Putting all the patient's false teeth in a bowl together to soak on a dementia ward. Took us weeks to try and match patient to teeth. No, they weren't marked up with the patient's names. Doubt the right teeth ended up with the right patient. It was guesswork. I know I'm awful for laughing at this, but it reminds me of that time the Pope ordered all the dicks to be cut off the statues in Rome. Fast forward to a few centuries later and a bunch of art historians were running around Rome with a box of dicks trying to restore them. I worked as a radiation protection tech at a power plant that was refueling. My job was to sit outside of a contaminated area, and if anyone wanted to take something out of the area, tools, etc., I had to make sure it didn't have any radioactive particles on it. To do this, you wipe the tool with something like a tissue and then hold the tissue up to a machine called a frisker. If the needle on the frisker goes above a threshold, then the tool has to be cleaned or left in the area. One day I come back to relieve a guy who had been sitting outside the area for 2 hours. He tells me there's been no issues and everything has cleared. I look at the frisker, lean over and turn the machine on. So you're telling me Homer having his job in The Simpsons is plausible? Removing the plastic wrapping from a pallet of 5-gallon cans of, highly flammable, acetone. He didn't have a box cutter, so he proceeded to melt it with a lighter. This was in the middle of a commercial paint warehouse. If it caught fire, you would see it from space. New safety rule: no ducking lighters in the warehouse. There was a guy who drove a forklift through a wall in the warehouse. We work in it. Edit: I didn't expect this comment to get as much attention as it did. It wasn't Michael Scott. Or Dwight. It really happened. It was a guy named Tom who was tasked with going to the storage area in the warehouse to get some laptops. When asked why he used the forklift, which he had never driven before or was even authorized to touch, he said, "I thought it would help." Spoiler: it wouldn't have helped. He was fired immediately. Lamau: how TF did one of you end up on a forklift? Shut down a critical file server, then lied about it, even after he was presented with the logs that showed it was his user account that initiated the shutdown. It's not so much the mistake that he made, but it was when he lied about making the mistake. That was a rookie move. I worked as a database tech once, and my boss was super upfront in training. If you duck up, come tell me immediately. No matter how bad it is, come tell me and I can try to help you fix it. But if you try to cover it up, you will fail. It will cause more and more problems until it breaks something important. All the data will be in the logs. I'll find out who fucked up, and I will, let me repeat this, I will throw you under the bus. So save yourself the trouble, and just tell me when you fuck up. My coworker at the bowling alley had to walk down a lane where a group of very young children, maybe 4 to 8 years old, were bowling to retrieve a ball that had stopped in the gutter about halfway down to the pins. When he had picked up the ball, my other coworker told him to go walk it back down to the children. However, this guy had it in his mind that it would be best to bowl it back down at the group of small children instead. Luckily, one of the adults with the children was a big muscular guy who was able to stop the ball and pick it up without anybody getting hurt. Edit: a typo. This is the funniest response I've seen. Just bowling at small children. You say small children. I say larger pins. Emptying hot fryer oil into a plastic container. Guess how that went? Well, this blew up. And yeah, it melted, went everywhere. What a pain to clean that was. Kid got fired. Same. 5-gallon bucket. Fortunately, I saw it coming and ran out of the kitchen. A few coworkers ended up with second-degree burns on their feet, and the idiot had to have some toes amputated and skin grafts on his ankles. Another guy at the same job forgot to turn the fryers off before cleaning them and nearly set off the dry chem if not for a perfectly thrown sheet tray by the grill X. It wasn't his first rodeo. Roommate threw a whole pot of water on a grease fire. As soon as I saw them get the water I screamed, "No, stop, don't do that," but they didn't listen, so I started sprinting to get out of the house. Got about halfway between the kitchen and the house door by the time the water hit the fire, and the ends of my hair still almost got singed. In the pics of the ceiling you can see how far the fire got out into the house. It stops a foot or two out past where I had reached. Insane. They were almost 30, not a dumb teen. We were just lucky we got out alive, mostly unhurt aside from mild smoke inhalation, and didn't lose too much to the fire. See my reply below for more. Edit, putting this here because some people seem to be missing my reply under this. If y'all want to see the pics of the aftermath with the melted microwave fire tracks, feel free to PM me. I've shown dozens already, so by all means smile. Poured sink cleaning solution into the ice cream machine instead of the cream mixture and I had to stop them. They then said, "I'm sure it'll be fine. It was only a little." No, that would poison people. I had to clean out the whole machine top to bottom and refill it. I ended up throwing away nearly a whole bucket full of contaminated ice cream mixture. I would also like to add that the containers didn't look anything alike. The sink stuff came in big plastic jugs with screw tops and the ice cream comes in cardboard cartons, like orange juice, that you have to cut open. So I don't know how she could have possibly mixed the two up. Was making pizza. Guy broke the pizza board, the thing with the handle you make the pizza on and then slide the pizza into the oven. I found the other one and he lost that. So I told him to make pizzas on one of the plastic cutting boards. He put the pizza into the oven on the board and just left it. The board melted, no more pizza that day. How do you lose a pizza board? Those things aren't small. With hard work and dedication, you can do anything. Tried to retrieve his lighter from a deep fat fryer with his hands. Boy, was that fun to clean up. When I worked in restaurants, one of the cooks told me that another cook had dropped his watch into the fat fryer, and instinctively plunged his hand into the fryer to retrieve it. I used to work for a landscaping company, and over the course of a summer I witnessed one of my coworkers accidentally set 3 different things on fire: a hedge trimmer, a truck, and himself. The office we worked in was shut down due to COVID and the company went 100% remote. A new senior engineer was hired to work directly with our product team and also manage a team of developers. During our company-wide weekly Zoom meeting after he was done presenting for the company, he turned his camera off but forgot to put himself on mute. 100+ people heard this man playing Fortnite and talking down about the company to someone else in the background, among other things. He only lasted a month. More like, despite that, he lasted a whole month. Planted a tree, ducking upside down. The designer, creative director and head of production all missed that there was an 8-day week on a calendar. We sent 10,000 copies of a useless calendar to a client. Rightly so, they refused to pay for it. What day did y'all add? Tombsday? Friday? Snunday? When I was in the Navy, this known dumbass and pathological liar was on armed watch with an M14 patrolling the topside decks. Literally all you have to do is walk around for 4 hours with a rifle on your shoulder. This dude came back to the quarterdeck, main entrance to the ship, with no gun. He tried to claim it fell off his shoulder and into the water while tying his shoe. How a rifle would fall off your shoulder, pass through your hands that were tying the shoe, and through all 3 lifelines, like guardrails, is still a mystery. My theory is that he was doing drill team stuff, like tossing it spinning in the air, and lost it that way. When I was in the Navy, we had a newer guy join my team. He was a first class transferred from another ship. Anyways, we were doing some night operations training on our ribs around San Diego Bay. We finished the night ops training and I'm checking in all the NVG, night vision goggles, and one of them doesn't match the others. In fact, it's a pair I had never seen. It was an older model and the serial numbers didn't match anything we had at our command. It was really strange. We were also missing one pair. They were checked out as a group, so we were not sure what was going on. It was not until the next day, we found the serial number of those goggles were missing from a ship. The same ship this dude transferred from. He stole a pair, got away with it a few years before. Then tried to swap them out for a newer pair, was on restriction and removed from the Navy a few months later. Blows me away what people think they will get away with.